Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we living. I thought we could take a look at an article that was posted on CBS Sports today, written by Brian Diardo. So, ranking the 10 greatest running back seasons in NFL history, Barry Sanders reigns supreme. I'm going to be honest, when I saw the title of this article and before I even clicked on it, the first name that popped into my head was O.J. Simpson, who ran for over 2,000 yards in a 14-game season. Of course, we know his off-the-field stuff, but on the field, he was incredible. That's the first name that popped into my head. Let's see where he ended up being ranked, though. So, as I mentioned, Sanders is on top. His 1997 season, as I mentioned, 53 yards during the season's first two games, 2,000 yards in the final 14 games, 6.1 yards per carry, 14 consecutive 100-yard games, NFL record. Second, Eric Dickerson, who still in 1984 has the NFL record with his 2,105 rushing yards, dozen 100-yard games that season. 215 yards against Houston in Week 15, Offensive Player of the Year. Third, TD, Terrell Davis in 1998, MVP in 1998, rushing for 2,008 yards and 21 touchdowns, rushing for an additional 468 and 3 TDs in 3 playoff games. His 2,476 rushing yards that season are the most ever by a running back. Fourth is that aforementioned O.J. Simpson season I mentioned earlier. In 1973, first player to rush for 2,000 yards, again in 14 games. Averaged a remarkable 143.1 yards per game while averaging 6 yards a carry. Fifth, the legendary Jim Brown, all the way back in 1963. Seventh season, he ran for 1,863 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6.4 yards a carry, with also 3 TD receptions. Was his fifth of 7 rushing titles. Sixth, LaDainian Tomlinson, single-season leader in rushing touchdowns, where he scored 28. Also, his 31 total scores are an NFL record. Added 1,815 rushing yards and 56 receptions. Seventh, Walter Payton in sweetness. Payton in 1977 led the NFL. 1,852 rushing yards, 14 rushing touchdowns, 5.5 yards a carry. Eighth, Adrian Peterson. Man, I remember watching this game, wanting to see him break Eric Dickerson's record. So close. 9 yards short. 2,097 yards for the season. Was named the NFL MVP. Just one 100-yard game during his first 6 games, for averaging 141 yards during the season's final 10 games. Earl Campbell in 1979. Earl Campbell just got off to such a dominant start in the NFL. His second season, 1,934 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns, 5.2 yards a carry, 4 200-yard games, while being named league MVP. And 10th, CJ2K, Chris Johnson in 2009, 2,006 yards, 50 catches, 503 yards. They list one honorable mention, Emmitt Smith in 1995, when he had 1,773 yards for an NFL record. Then NFL record, 25 touchdowns. Also caught 62 passes. So there we have it. According to this writer on CBS Sports, the 10 best running back seasons in NFL history. Some that I thought of off the top of my head that I believe could easily be considered. Shaun Alexander. His peak may not have been as long as some of these guys mentioned, but in 2005, he was named league MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, rushed for a league-leading 1,880 yards, 27 rushing touchdowns, which was later broken by LaDainian Tomlinson, but still the second most in NFL history. We also have Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk had 3 straight seasons from 99 to 2001 in which he was named Offensive Player of the Year. The second of those, he was named MVP. If you want to go with the 1999 season, 1,381 yards rushing, 5.5 yards a carry, 87 catches for 1,048 yards. Wasn't as great in the postseason. They did win the Super Bowl, but 2001, where they made the Super Bowl and lost, he was much better in the postseason, while in the regular season, rushing for 1,382 yards, 12 touchdowns, 83 catches, 765 yards, and 9 receiving touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, another guy, he had a 1,000 season, becoming just the the third running back behind Marshall Faulk and Roger Craig prior to them to have a 1,000 season. In 2019, rushed for 1,387 yards, 15 scores, while adding 116 receptions for 1,005 yards and another 4 scores. And there was 2,000-yard seasons that did not make the list. Jamal Lewis in 2003, Offensive Player of the Year, rushed for 2,066 yards and 14 touchdowns. And recently, Derrick Henry in 2020, 2,027 yards, 17 touchdowns, on 5.4 yards per carry. So, did you believe any of those seasons should have been in the top 10? Were there any that I mentioned, that I didn't mention that you believe should make it? Do you believe Barry Sanders in 1997 is the best season a running back has ever had? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.